anybody from the HR department who will evaluate what P and S are doing. It's about each and everything, whether it is required, not required, everything is actually dotted here. You need to understand this format and pattern of the report varies with each supervisor. They need to get this appraisal. Now it is not the marketing manager A or B who will go for the appraisal. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Vidhyaashram from the Department of Commerce and Management in Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome to all the students for this last session of performance appraisal. Now here in this, we'll go with the traditional method. If you have not watched the third session and the fourth session, please do watch it. The fifth session is all the continuation of the third and the fourth. Now what exactly the performance appraisal is? What was the objective of adapting the performance appraisal? What are the limitations of performance appraisal? And what exactly are the traditional method is what we're gonna learn in this chapter. Now, when we go with the methods of performance appraisal, we know that the traditional method, the first one and the foremost which we learned was straight ranking method. What exactly this straight ranking method is? Where you will go with the oldest of the oldest method in performance appraisal is straight ranking method. And it is the simplest is what people say, but what are the demerits you also know. Now if you have not watched the third session, please do watch the third session where I have given an entire gist about the straight ranking method. Now here what usually happens is if there are 100 employees. If there are how many? 100 employees. Each and every employee is being given as a rank. So whoever are the top 10, they are the people who are most efficient is what they consider. Now after that you have that kind of a thing that is excellent, good, average and poor. Next one when we go with it, we have paired comparison. Paired comparison is very simplest way than the straight ranking method. Now here what happens is, say you have 50 employees. You have 50 employees. All the 50 employees will be compared with each and every person. So here we have a formula. The formula is n into n minus 1 divided by 2. So here n in the sense the total number of employees which you are supposed to compare. Next we have is grading system. Now here grading again, as I told you people that the grading system, I have done it in the fourth session. Please do watch the fourth session, which is very important because I have done grading system, forced distribution, forced choice method and critical method here in the fourth session. Now here when we go with the understanding of what exactly a grading system is, that means here there will be a kind of a chart which is given to the person called rater. Now everyone that is grading first and first choice, you have a person called, rater. Now he is a person who will actually rate how efficient the employee is and who are the people who should get performance appraisal. Now here what happens, they will go with the grading systems. That is on the basis of two things. One is reliability and the dependability. Now here when we go with the reliability and dependency, here what we get to know is excellent is one of the grading system. Then we have very good is one of the grading system. Then we have good, average, and then we have something called poor. Now these are the grading system where the rater is a person who will actually go with rating whether that person is good or not. So when you go with these kind of a thing, it is very easy for the management to decide that who is a person who should get more performance appraisals. So we have done all these things. Please do watch. The third session I have done the straight and paired. The fourth session I have done grading system, forced distribution, forced choice, as well as I have even done checklist method. Now I told you what exactly a checklist method is all about. When we go with the checklist method here, what happens is there are few standards which is already given. This is already given. Now on these basis only, the rater is again that is the supervisor here. Now the supervisor will actually check on these basis only. Now he cannot decide on his own conclusion. He should only decide on the employee's behavior according to those standards which has already been given. Now this is called the checklist method. The next one we have is critical incident method. Today in this session I'm going to teach you about critical incident method. What exactly this incident method is? We will jot down all the incidents which has happened in the organization about each and every employee who is present in the organization. Then we have graphic scale method, essay method, and field review method. So these four methods I'm going to teach you here in this session. So what exactly you are supposed to do? If you need to get 15 marks, you are supposed to have patience. Learn the third session, fourth session, and the fifth session. This is what is for you people. So the first one here in this session which I'm going to tell you is the critical incident method. So what is this critical incident method? Now the critical incident technique, which is also called as the critical requirement system, or we can say that performance record programs. Now here what exactly this critical incident? It can be called as critical requirement system, as well as it is known as performance record program. Now under this method, the superior continuously records the incidents, each and every incident. He will record whether it is good or it is bad, whether it is positive or it is negative. He'll start recording here. That will affect the behavior of the person. Now it may be affected the behavior of subordinates positively or negatively. So here what happens is, in an organization there is always people who will look at you saying that what exactly you do, how exactly you talk to your friends, to your teammates, how passionate you are for your work. Never go with loose talks. The reason is this critical incident is always there, which will be recorded by the superior, and as a subordinate, the more you talk which is not proper, now they're gonna jot down everything, and when it comes to the performance appraisal, they'll highlight that more. Say example, here we have this performance appraisal sheet. Now when they go with the critical incident, here what happens is they'll go with something called the name. Here we have what are the things positively he has done, what are the things negatively it is done. Now positive, say it is 4 or 5 projects you have done properly. Now negativity is what? You are not a team player, you are a person who talk bad is what they can actually go. So the more the negative is that, the performance appraisal will have an impact. So that's the reason you are supposed to be very obedient as well as disciplined in your own culture. These incidents are recorded systematically under different categories or columns duly provided in the specifically designed notebook. So each and every person, the minute you join an organization, there will be a person who will just check, that is a human resource manager, and his team will always check that what you are doing it and how well you are being placed in the organization. Now in the critical incident, we have the daily recording of these incidents seems to be the most appreciable, otherwise the supervisor may forget them. Say supposingly, let's go with an example here. When we go with an example, please take it like this. Now you're a person called X. Now there is a supervisor called S. This is a supervisor. Now whatever X does, whether it is he or she, whoever it is, right? Now supervisor will start noticing that what exactly they do. They'll always have a kind of a notebook where all the columns will be there. Now they'll start rating that what you have done, what is that you have done is wrong. All those things they'll actually check, so that they will never forget that what is that you are doing. So that is what the critical incident is all about. Now it is clear that here the emphasis is sought to be shifted in the rating from assessing traits to emphasizing the behavior. So it's not about what you're good at, it's about each and everything, whether it is required, not required, everything is actually dotted here. So what happens is you will not get the quality. You will not get the quality in critical incident. That is what happens. Next one we have is graphic scale. Now this graphic scale method of performance appraisal, the performance appraisal it is a most commonly used method. It assesses a person of the quality and quantity of his work divided into number of factors. So please do understand, quantity of work can be measured, but quality can never be measured. It can be only graded, or it can be represented in the graphical form. Now these factors can be categorized as employee characteristics, employee's contribution. So when they go with the characteristics and the contribution, please understand that is a reason you are supposed to behave properly. You are supposed to always have a standard. You need to maintain the dignity. The employee characteristics includes qualities such as initiative, leadership, dependability, cooperativeness, enthusiasm, loyalty, decisiveness, emotional stability, maturity, analytical ability, coordination, and cooperation. All these are what the characteristics of an employee. How loyal is he? How obedient he is, how honest he is, how reliable he is, how dependent he is. Now all these are what the characteristics of a person. So that's the reason we are not supposed to miss the character. We are always supposed to build our character, not to lose the character. So here in graphical scale we have two things. One is the characteristics. And one more we have is the contribution of the employee and contribution. Both should be what? It should be equal. Only then you will actually go with a very good performance in the graphical scale. So when you go with graph here, what happens? 0. If a person actually comes here, now his growth should be really good. Now growth in what way? That is both quality as well as quantity. His contribution towards the work should be really good, and that will be represented in the graphical format. The minute you see the graph of an employee, you will get to know that whether that person is efficient or not, whether that person should get performance appraisal or not. The next one we have is essay method. Now this essay method, please do understand, there will be a supervisor who will see to it, the manager or supervisor or a person who is a boss there. Now he is a person who will evaluate each and every employee. When he starts evaluating each and every employee, he'll start jotting down all the points and he'll start going for a performance appraisal where he will comment that what all the good things he has done. Now that is what the essay type of method is there, and this is the reason we need to have something called the reference and the referrals. Now here, these are the traditional way of appraising the employee performance. A confidential report. This is what? The confidential report by the immediate supervisor. Say example, we have here MD, and we'll go with the flow chart here. Now we have marketing manager and we have here HR manager. Now in that marketing manager, we have a person called A, and here we have B. The same way, let's go with C and D. Here we have X and here we have Y. Now, if X is doing really good, the report will be done by whom? The C. Same way, Y, the C will actually do it. For C, it is the HR manager will actually go for the confidential report. It is for HR manager, it is the MD. So that means what? The immediate supervisor. See, for X and Y, it is not A or B who will actually write. Though A and B are in a different level, isn't it? They are in a different level. Here, these people are in a different level. So who will actually do? For X and Y, though A, B, C, D, they are the superior, but the immediate superior is who? For X it is C, for Y it is C. The C will actually go with a report, that is what? The confidential report by the immediate supervisor is still a major determinant of the subordinate promotion or transfer. It is only in the hands of C whether X and Y will get promotion or increase in the salary. So when we go with the supervisor, he'll write about a paragraph on his subordinate's strengths, weakness, intelligence, attitude to work, attendance, conduct and characters of work efficiency, and all these things will be done by him. And next one, when we go with it, you need to understand this format and pattern of the report varies with each supervisor. Now, say example. Now we went with X and Y. Say an example here. We have A, we have here S, and we have P. The way C will write the report is totally different from the way A will write the report for S and P, because it is up to them how exactly they will go with. Next one was field review method. Now in this field review method, it is totally little different from the previous one, SAA method. Now here the supervisor, the immediate supervisor will not write anything. He will not evaluate. It is the other person who will try to evaluate what the other person is doing. Say example here, when we go with it, in this method, an employee is not appreciated or appraised by his direct superior, but by another person, usually from the HR department. So this is an appraisal by someone outside the assessors, that is own department, usually someone from the corporate office or the HR department. The basic idea is that such a person may take a more objective view in the appraisal, as he is not under the pressure as the superior of the employee may be. That means here, please understand, I'll draw the same thing here for you. Now we have a person called MD here. Now we have marketing manager. We have here HR manager. Now we went with something called A, and here is something called B. And here we got some S and P. Done. Now here we had somebody called C and somebody called D. Now say, if it was the SA method, it is A who will actually do the assessment. But now S and P, say example, P and S or S and P, they need to get this appraisal. Now it is not the marketing manager, A or B, who will go for the appraisal. It is C or D or anybody from the HR department who will evaluate what P and S are doing it. Say example here, A is supposed to do the appraisal or else they will not work for him. So he is in an obligation. But C and D or anybody from the HR manager, say from anybody from the HR department, they will not have any problem whether they will work or not. See, if they have done properly, they will get appraisal. So this is what the field review method is all about. So I have explained you the entire traditional method, from the straight rating method to the last one that is called the field review method. Any doubt regarding this session, please do call us. We are always there to help you. Thank you so much.